Hey guys, welcome back to Pokemon TCG Pocket. It's been a minute, but we are getting super excited for the new set and what is to come. Now, you guys may have seen a lot of coverage of the leaks yesterday of this trailer. I'm not going to go through that. I was a bit sus on it, so I didn't want to cover it. But now we've got some more reliable looking leaks of some of the cards coming in the new set. We do have the Pokemon stream, which should be happening in like 10 hours from now as well, which is going to be a thing. But this is a good look at some of the cards in the new set that we are getting, which is looking like being very Arceus focused and a lot of cards having synergies with Arceus itself when we look at things like this. So I'm going to go through the cards that have been leaked. I'll leave a link to what I believe is the source material for this stuff. If it's somewhere else, I do apologize. I asked around. This was the best I could find that was the source. So massive shout out to this person over here, over on one of the CN forums over there. So let's go through it. So first of all, Arceus EX. This is what was shown in that trailer. So maybe that trailer was real. They just had so many fake things about that trailer that I didn't think it was going to be real, but it was like a real, I thought it was going to be a real good fake, but it turns out to be real or just a bad real presentation, I guess. But let's take a look at Arceus EX. So you got 140 HP basic EX. This Pokemon can't be affected by any special conditions, which is honestly solid. And then we got a 3-cost Ultimate Force, 70 plus 20 for each benched Pokemon on your bench. So we got 130 damage cap for 3 energy. Solid, but I think the big thing with Arceus is going to be the play that it has with other cards. When we look at some of these other cards, like this sort of stuff, being that you can sort of ramp up Arceus in the background to get to that 3 energy without having to, just get it up straight away. So I do think Arceus is going to have some definite viability. We'll have to wait and see how it pans out, but there's so many cards that interact with it that I think it's just going to have to see some play in this set. Moving on that, we got Arita, dude, I don't even know how to say her name. Heals 40 damage from each of your Pokemon that has water energy attached to it. This is honestly incredibly solid. So now we're getting some solid heal support for things outside of just the Erica with grass, and they just have to have water energy on them. So we have Manaphy that can splash water energy on anyone. So that's going to be super effective as well, like being able to heal across the board with that Manaphy, if that's the kind of play you're doing, regardless of what type your Pokemon is. I think that's going to be super handy. Then we move on to Glaceon EX, 140 HP, 1 retreat. During a Pokemon checkup, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, do 10 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So we've just got a passive. If it's in the active spot, you're going to be chipping 10, and that's each way. That's like it's like a poison tick. It's like an additional poison tick just by having Glaceon up there. Then we have a 3-cost for 90 damage. 140, not the craziest bulk, but still at a 1 retreat cost means you can pivot it out quite easily if you do need to. Not too bad. I'm not overly excited about this one, but still it's not too bad at all. Definitely usable, this one, in my opinion. We move on to the Shaman. As long as this Pokemon is on your bench, your active basic Pokemon's retreat cost is 1 less. So this, and it's 2 colors, so this is completely splashable in any situation. Now, if it gets dragged into the active spot, unfortunately, this passive won't work on it as long as this Pokemon is on your bench. So it will still have to pay to retreat, but your other Pokemon, if it is on the bench, won't have to. I think this is a solid splashable card in decks that don't have... aren't worried about using their entire bench. So it's just like a bench spot, and then you basically got a permanent X speed. I think that's pretty solid. I think this will definitely see some tech usage. We just got a Steel Magnemite with the tackle for 20 with 1 Steel Energy, 1 retreat cost, 60 HP, standard stuff. Then over here, we've got the Giratina. We've got 1 grass and 1 psychic energy and 1 colorless. 120 damage, discard 2 random energy from this Pokemon. It's 120 HP. Honestly, I'm not a massive fan of this. I don't know how this would play. Maybe we'll have other support cards that make this more viable, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping we get a Giratina EX as well, but once again, watch this space. And then you got Nose Pass with 3 retreat costs on a basic. Really, really sucks having 3 retreat costs on a basic. So we'll have to see how that goes. 80 HP, 10 damage. Then we got the Garchomp EX. This Garchomp EX, I actually really do like. This 170 bulk is really, really solid. This attack does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So the thing that I really love about things like, so it's kind of like, this kind of like combos Gengar and Gengar EX. Now, bear with me when I say that. It may sound a little bit weird, but like The Gengar EX has really big bulk. I think it's 180 or something. And then it has, you know, the moderate damage for a 3 energy cost. It does have the passive on top. But then the normal Gengar just has that 50 damage, but it's only 1 energy cost. So this combines, like, because there's different situations. Whenever I look at Gengar and Gengar EX, I'm like, I feel like it's so close to being useful, but like each one has something good about it. And this kind of combines both of them. Obviously, it doesn't have the passive, but it's got like the normal, like, you know, if you're energy strapped, you know, and you don't get to ramp up too much energy, well, you've got a really solid 1 cost attack with decent bulk, and also just for sniping in general. And then if you do get it built up with the 3 energies, you got a nice 100 damage, and it's still only a 1 retreat cost. I really do like this Garchomp EX. I'm a fan of this. So I'm definitely keen to see how this one pans out. This is definitely one of the cards that I am looking forward to playing the most because I just love Garchomp in general. Moving on that, we've got Carnivine. We've got 80 HP, 1 retreat cost, a 1 cost attack for 20, and the ability. If you have Arceus, so we should be getting an Arceus and an Arceus EX, so we should get a base Arceus as well. If you have an Arceus or Arceus EX in play, attacks by this Pokemon do plus 30 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. This is a 1 energy 50 hit if you have the right Pokemon on the bench. I could see some turbo Carnivine plays where you run. If it sets up, it's just a matter of consistency on it. But I mean, a 50 swing with a 1 retreat cost for a basic with 80 HP. I mean, that's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. I think this could see some usage, at least if not meta usage, at least like tech usage. I think that could be a lot of fun. Tyranitar. Okay, what have we got here? So this is a non-EX. I hope Tyranitar gets an EX version. Love Tyranitar. If you have an Arceus or Arceus EX in play, attacks used by this Pokemon do plus 30 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. And it's okay. So honestly, it's 160 damage when you have Arceus, but you do need the 4 energies, and it's a 4 retreat cost. Even Leaf ain't enough to make this amazing for me. I guess it's like your finishing sweeper though. Like it's your cleanup Pokemon. So maybe we get some use. It's gonna depend on the Larvitar, Pupitar lines and see how they go. But not too bad. Moving on from that, we have the Heatran. This is just a normal Heatran. It's a basic with 110 HP. If you have an Arceus or an Arceus EX in play, this Pokemon has no retreat cost, and it does 40 damage for 2 energy, but it does an extra 40 damage if it has energy on it. Once again, this could work in nice into a pivoting Arceus. I really like the way they're playing these different types of Pokemon with the Arceus play. Like you got the Carnivine, which has the grass energy. It's kind of playing into the plate idea of Arceus, which I really do like. But you know, this is pretty solid with an Arceus because you get a free retreat on a really bulky basic that can actually hit decently hard. You know, not too bad. We'll have to wait and see. Once again, we need to see all the cards and see how the meta goes, but I do like the synergy that this has. Rotom. Okay, we got base Rotom. It's a psychic version now. We got 70 HP, 1 retreat cost. If you have Arceus or Arceus EX in play, this Pokemon has no retreat cost. Its attack is dash attack, which is a colorless, does 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Honestly, I don't think this is good enough. If that was a 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, yes, maybe we'd see some play depending on what the meta decks are. But even with the retreat cost reduction, I think it's maybe like super tech in some decks. But the one thing is that it is splashable, along with Arceus being splashable because it is the one colorless. So, you know, maybe this is like a one-of in some deck, in some of the, you know, Arceus decks. Arceus in a fire deck with Heatran, or Arceus in a Carnivine deck with, you know, grass. You could always splash the Rotom in as another option to have in there for an early damage into a pivot. But yeah, I'm not too sold on it. Crobat. Here's my man Crobat. So I've been hanging out for Crobat. So I always said that when I saw Zubat and Golbat, I couldn't wait for Crobat because the Zubat Golbat line really reminded me of original Pidgeotto Pidgeot and original Greninja line, where, you know, its first two are very, very similar. And I thought it was going to have a 2-cost attack, a 1 or a 0 retreat cost, and then an ability. So it turns out it has an ability, a 1-cost attack for 50, and 0 retreat cost. I love this Crobat. I cannot wait to build a Crobat deck. And on top of that, once during your turn, if you have Arceus or Arceus EX in play, you may do 30 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. I really do like this card. It's a stage 2, so it's a bit harder to get out, but I do like the stage 2s that have like, you know, this kind of thing, like, you know, a low cost, decent damage. And the fact that it's low cost pairs really well with the Arceus EX because you need to get those 3 energy on. But I mean, you will have to do something in the meantime. That's the one thing, because it is a stage 2. I don't know. I just really like the Crobat. I'm keen to see where it goes. We got a Raichu at 90 HP, 1 retreat cost. If you have Arceus or Arceus EX in play, this Pokemon takes minus 30 damage from attacks. And then it has Spark. This attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon, 40 damage. Honestly, I'm not overly impressed with the Raichu. It's not my favorite, but maybe there's some tech usage in there. I'm not too sure. You guys let me know. I'm not a massive fan. Next, we have Magnezone. Ability, if you have Arceus or Arceus EX in play, this Pokemon takes minus 30 damage from attacks. Then it's got Power Beam at 80 damage. Let's face it, this probably ain't going to outdo the other Magnezone. I'm trying to think if there's any way you can play this with the other Magneton. Get the... Nah, not really. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know. Am I missing some on this one? I'm not too sure. I just... You know, Electric one's too strong at the moment. We've got Probopass EX. The one thing with it is that the Nose Pass is so terrible with 3 retreat. I don't know if this is going to see any play, but... I mean, I think it will see play, but whether it's going to be see strong play, I'm not too sure. Defensive unit. 90 damage during your opponent's next turn. This Pokemon takes minus 20 damage from attacks. It just feels scuffed. It's 160 HP, which is okay, but it's not huge. Like, obviously it's a stage 1, but like, especially when you look at things like Gyarados and the HP levels it gets, it's only got 1 attack. It's got no passive as an EX. It's got 3 retreat costs, and its basic is really bad. I don't like this at all, but, you know, maybe I'm missing something. And then finally, we have this one, which is Adaman, which is during your opponent's next turn, all of your steel Pokemon take minus 20 damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So, you know, you got the synergy there, minus 20 damage, minus another 20 damage. We got Melmetal as well, which has the passive for minus 20 damage, so you can stack that kind of stuff. Not too sure, but I mean, really cool stuff. I'm liking the uniqueness of the Arceus. I don't know if the meta is going to go full Arceus, or whether this is just going to promote some more of those fighting decks because of the weakness to fighting. What Arceus, what type of Arceus, what plate Arceus will be the best? Who knows? But that is a look at some of the stuff we've got so far. Like I said, I always love seeing some stuff like this, but let me know your thoughts. What do you guys think about these ones? Once again, we do have the set is coming in basically a day anyway, so we will have all of it very soon. But that is a look at some of these leaks. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.